There's a lot to unpack here. Firstly, I lied to you. Pokemon Sage is not the oldest of the fan games in this series. That title actually belongs to Pokemon Sea and Sky. The director and co-lead of Pokemon Sea and Sky, Evan Starr, began his journey into Pokemon fan game development by making Pokemon sprite splices on a now deleted forum called Pokemon Fan Universe. On the forums, he was inspired by Spherical Ice, who wound up being the developer of the ROM hack Pokemon Gaia, to make his own Pokemon region. So on April 12, 2008, he created the Emort region. Hundreds of Pokemon designs were submitted by users of the forum for the region's Pokédex. Eventually, through this, a team, most notably Mark, was formed to make the Emort region into a ROM hack. Unfortunately though, the forum shut down not long after, which meant most of the team working on the project left, including Mark. Despite this, Evan carried on, and with the help of some offline friends, and eventually coming back in contact with Mark, they managed to bring the Emort region to life with their first project, Pokemon Helio. The game was announced in early 2010 and a demo for it was released on New Year's Day in 2011. It was a little rough around the edges, but everyone has to start from somewhere. At the time though, the demo was well received. So well received in fact that they decided to take the game in an entirely new direction, and thus it was rebranded to Pokemon Imperial Sky. A demo for the rebranded game was meant to release in winter of 2011, but nothing ever came. They scrapped Pokemon Imperial Sky and started over. This time with an Australian outback setting. As early as October 2012, we can see the seeds of what would eventually become their most recognizable project. In 2013, they internally rebranded once more, got themselves some more team members, and put their all into this new project. Fast forward to April 2015 and Parhelion Productions announced Pokemon Ethereal Gates. For its time, the game looked very promising. A gameplay trailer was released in June to a lot of fanfare, and following that, the demo was released in August 2015. I actually played the demo when it was released, and I remember really enjoying it. However, outside of a patch they released for bug fixes and balancing, updates on Ethereal Gates slowed down tremendously. On April 12, 2018, Evan posted a 10-year anniversary blog, which is where I got most of the information for this video from. He went into a bit more details as to why the development for his fan game had taken so long. It essentially boils down to being a perfectionist. We've redesigned, rewritten, and have all but rebranded because we keep striving to do better. Each time we hit the reset button, it's because we've grown wiser and smarter and have improved our skills. As someone who's been creating videos for well over 10 years now, I get it. However, the difference is a video is made, uploaded, and then moved on from. Years later, you can go back and see how much you've improved, but you can't upload a fan game every day. Of course, each time they improve, they're going to want to go back and make sure the quality of the game is matched equally throughout. He then goes on to say he thinks it's finally time to follow through on a full game, and that's why they won't be releasing another demo. Then, on New Year's Day in 2019, Pokemon Ethereal Gates took to Twitter to announce their final rebrand to Pokemon Sea and Sky. They explained that since releasing the demo, so much about their game had changed. It might have a new feel to it, but they're still carrying over a lot from Ethereal Gates. After rebranding, Pokemon Sea and Sky were active on Twitter for around 8 months, mostly posting artwork of the game's Pokemon with the occasional in-game screenshot. My personal favorite Pokemon, Jinkai, got a redesign and I absolutely love it. Their last development post was August 24th, 2019, which was a collage of all the Pokemon they had shared so far. Since then, the public hasn't had any information on what the status of development is. In late 2020, in a reply from Evan's personal account, he said he didn't want to keep hyping people up over the course of a slow development, because every time they tweet, they get a slew of "this will never come out" replies, which depresses the spirits on the team. So they opted to work in silence, even if it means the general public think the game is dead. I can confirm though that as recent as January 2023, despite there being no updates in nearly 4 years, Pokemon Sea and Sky are not dead, at least according to Evan. So with no public demo for Pokemon Sea and Sky, the next best thing for us to do is to check out the demo for Pokemon Ethereal Gates. It's been 8 years since I played it, so it'll be fun to revisit. Before we do though, I want to personally say something to anyone that's developing a fan game. You're an incredibly small team making a whole video game for free in your spare time. You don't owe anyone anything. Now I've got that off my chest, Pokemon Ethereal Gates is set in the Lanaka region, which is based on New Zealand. It has over 200 brand new, never before seen Pokemon. Obviously, we can't see all 200 of these in the demo, but even for a full release, 200 brand new Pokemon is a huge undertaking. The demo is 2 gyms long and took me roughly 3 hours to beat. With all that said, let's revisit Pokemon Ethereal Gates. But first, today's video is sponsored by The Ridge. Their sleek and durable wallet is a game changer to your pockets. It can hold up to 12 cards with room for cash. It's designed with RFID blocking materials that protects you from digital pickpocketers, and the best part is there's 30 plus colors and styles to choose from, so you'll definitely find a wallet that's right for you. Don't even get me started on the key case. Easily my favorite product from The Ridge. It securely holds up to 6 keys and prevents them from being a jingly mess. And that's not all. Ridge has partnered with Hennessy for their summertime sweepstakes, and for the first time ever, they're giving away a Hennessy Ford Bronco, or $75,000 in cash if you prefer. prefer. You can enter for free on their website. Additionally, you get 1 bonus entry for every $1 you spend, and custom Hennessy products come with up to 1,000 entries. So if you've been considering getting a Ridge, now is the best time. Use my link ridge.com/hood and you'll get 10 bonus entries into the sweepstakes at checkout. That's ridge.com/hood. Thank you, Ridge, for sponsoring today's video. We start off as always by choosing our character and giving ourselves a name. We're introduced to this region's Pokemon professor, Professor Hawthorne. The camera fades to black and we're watching him on TV. He announces he can only study so much at his lab, so for the next few weeks he'll be in Appalus Town doing research. Anyone interested in Pokemon research can and should find him in Appalus Town. The TV turns off and it seems we weren't watching alone. These are our friends April and August. April excitedly wants to go meet the professor. You see, very conveniently, we live in Appalus Town. April is super keen on Pokemon research, while August is not so much. She runs off and we follow her to the east of the town. The entire time, August is complaining. We approach the professor and April tells him the 3 of us are interested in researching Pokemon. August is still complaining. The professor is really excited about this. We're the only visitors he's gotten all day because the population of Appalus Town is very small. He needs help surveying the southern part of Lenica, and before he can even ask, April signs us up to help. For being willing to help, we each get a Pokemon. August changes his tune and seems to be really excited about this. We have to decide amongst ourselves who goes first. April doesn't mind which Pokemon she gets because she's in it for the research, so she'll choose last. August selfishly tries to choose first, but April intervenes and says that I should pick first since I haven't complained all day. He agrees and is fine with second pick. The first time I played this, I chose Fernling. I think it's still my favorite out of the 3, however, I wanted to mix things up, so I chose Kitorch and named it after my cat. Naturally, August chooses Bubble, the starter which is strong against ours, and that leaves April with Fernling. We each get a Pokedex and a recommendation. We head west on Route 1 towards Corella Town. We try to leave and August wants to battle already. April isn't interested, so we take him on instead. We win, surviving on 1 HP. August surprisingly isn't too upset at his loss and leaves to start his adventure. Despite this demo being as old as it is, this game definitely has one of the most gorgeous UIs of any Pokemon fan game. After exploring Appalus Town, we head off too. Our mom stops us to give us a pair of running shoes and wishes us luck on our adventure. On Route 1, we meet Verdva and Bambaus. We arrive in Corella Town and this old gentleman gives us a quick tour of the area, ending the tour by giving us a town map. The shape of the region is quite unique and it seems at some point we would have been expected to cross the water. I quite like that. Anyway, we move onward to Route 2, battle some trainers, and we meet Polby, Avinch, and Eeyore. I decided to catch them because I really want to use this little guy. At the end of Route 2 is Avocet Forest. Thankfully, most of what we've been battling have been grass and bug types, so our starter just shreds through most of them. However, I come across some hooded strangers that I can only assume are up to no good. We overhear them talking about how they don't see any ethereal gates in this part of the forest. Ethereal gates. Thanks for watching, guys. They notice us eavesdropping, say we didn't see anything, and then battle us. The first hooded stranger introduces us to Opabi, a really cute possum Pokemon. The second hooded stranger has a Frubat, which I personally think could pass as a real Pokemon. I absolutely love this thing. We make quick work of them, and then they head to the other part of Avocet Forest. Running around the forest, then we meet more new Pokemon, Setic and Hunber. I kept creating every Hunber I found, so before I managed to catch one, I accidentally evolved my Kitorch. Meet Arsaline. Upon evolving, he learned Thundershock and is now a Fire Electric type. We exit the forest and arrive in Longspur City. As we head to the Pokemon Center, our friend April shows up and finally battles us. She's no match for MD though. She tells us about the Pokemon League challenge and recommends we give it a shot. People around town recommended I take on the Trainer School challenge. All we had to do was beat 6 students in a battle and were rewarded with Rock Smash. Heading towards the first gym, and there's a note on the door from Regina saying she went out to get a drink. So I head to the bar and battle some trainers. One of them was called Callum. Younger me seemed to think that the Ethereal Gates team took my name and put it in their game as a reference. 8 years later, I'm not so sure. I completely forgot about this. At least the trainer class is fitting. We find Regina and she accepts our challenge and heads back to the gym. She's a normal type gym leader, so getting Rock Smash beforehand was definitely a good idea. Her gym visually is gorgeous, but the puzzle is pretty straightforward. Taking out all the gym trainers allowed our Setic to evolve into Magona. As for the gym battle itself, she leads with Opabi, which is actually a pure dark type. I guess the gym leaders in this region are just built different. No big deal though, because I lead with Germa and took out Opabi with a bug bite. Next is Barrabil. I remember using one of these in my original playthrough, and it was much better than my starter at the beginning. 2 Rock Smashes takes it out, and her final Pokemon is Hunber. Same case for this guy. 2 Rock Smashes and the common badge is ours. She gives us the TM for Proud Swivel, which is a 40 power move with 90% accuracy that flinches every time it connects. If it misses, the user becomes confused. This is honestly a really disgusting move, primarily in double battles. Now we can use Rock Smash outside of battle. We head to Route 3. A Pokemon we met earlier popped out one of the rocks. I like this guy a lot, so we'll be using him on our team. In the Route 3 grass, we meet Autumn, which is one of the oldest Pokemon they designed. This fisherman has Graufin and Albalu. The Magikarp and Wingull vibes are strong. Continuing through Route 3 and we come across this bridge. Similarly to Nugget Bridge from Kanto, there are 5 trainers and if we beat them all we get a prize. Battling these trainers we meet Squeaker, which honestly I'm surprised they didn't add the sound type just for this guy. There was also Fugruff, which is a fire type puppy dog. For winning we get the TM for Fling. Thanks for nothing. Heading to the beach and upon picking up this Pokeball a Barkush popped out. Obviously this game's mimic Pokemon. I'm glad this concept is a staple in the Pokemon fan game community. We reach the end of Route 3 and head into Auklet Town. As soon as we take our first step, we're greeted by a Nurse Joy. She informs us that a young girl was kidnapped, and since we're all so young, we should be cautious. Talking to some of the locals and we get some important information. Her dad mentions that she always loved going on top of his lighthouse and looking out above the fog. It's currently locked, but he gives us a spare key so we can investigate. We head inside the lighthouse and meet Magna and Zuzumi. Magna is my least favorite design so far, and Zuzumi must be this region's Pikachu clone. It's a pretty good one. The puzzle for the lighthouse is quite unique. Instead of having to fall down the correct holes to progress, we use Rock Smash on boxes on the floors above to fill up the holes. At the top of the lighthouse we find a doll, which likely belongs to the missing girl, and a key to the library. I got curious and was looking up some of the evolution levels for my Pokemon, and I discovered that Mostin evolves by leveling up inside Avocet Forest. So we backtrack really fast and we're introduced to Massachusetts. Kind of ridiculous to have this behemoth this early in the game. Now we have the key to the library, we head inside. Strangely enough, despite being locked, there's somebody already in here. Her name is Marana. She's a mythology enthusiast and came to read the books this library had to offer. We inform her that we're looking to rescue someone, and she tells us that she heard something coming from the basement earlier, but she has no idea where the entrance is. She suggests that we brighten the chandelier in order to find it. She then goes on to say she learned all she needed from the books here and says it was nice meeting us, by name and all, which is weird, because I never told her my name. For some reason, I take the scary lady's advice and begin looking around the library. We encounter a new Pokemon, Caspook. He's really cute, but my sights are set on another. I eventually stumble upon what I can only assume to be a ghost. Like the humankind. He seems to be muttering something under his breath, something that wound up being a clue. The clue led us to a light bulb, which we can use to brighten up the chandelier. We do this 4 times and the entrance to the basement, which is behind a bookshelf, opened up. Heading inside and we see the young girl standing next to a Pokemon. This Pokemon is Jinkai, which is my favorite Pokemon from Ethereal Gates. We capture it and the young girl can go home to our family. Her father thanks us and rewards us with the HM for Cut, which we can use once we obtain the second gym badge. Now that all the craziness has subsided, this woman offers to trade us a Baytwee for an Avinge. I would have done the trade anyway, but she informs us that it has Gale Wings. Double yes. Route 4 has opened up, so we start making our way through. We meet 2 new Pokemon, Daimless and Ode. I remember Ode because of how much it reminded me of Scraggy. It's quite a lengthy route, but besides the new Pokemon, nothing super interesting happened. At the end of Route 4 is Avocet City. Yes, it shares its name with the forest, seemingly because the town is built around trees instead of just knocking them down. I can't imagine how many bug infestations these people will have to deal with. Speaking of, the gym leader of the city specializes in bug types. Before we can head in though, these lumberjacks ask us for help. They need a machine part in order to get this tree moved out of the way. We ask the mechanic on Route 4 if he has a spare part, and he does. We deliver it and they recommend that we take on the gym while they get back to work on this tree. So we go do that. The gym puzzle isn't too hard, mostly trial and error. I will say, however, we did meet some new bug types. Verdva's final evolution, Peludiller, despite how awesome it looks, it's an early game bug, so its stats are quite lackluster. And Ambloot, which is a bug dark type Pokemon. We make it to the gym leader Beckett, and he leads with Golokun, the middle evolution of Grudurf. It has Sandstream, which is kind of insane. I thought Kofflink would make quick work of it, but I was mistaken as it Okos me with a Rock Tomb. No matter, we send in Bidston and start stacking rollouts. However, the combination of Golokun's high defense, a Hyper Potion, and Mud Slap stops us from stacking, and by the time the next Pokemon comes in, we're just low on accuracy. Allerglen is up next, which is clearly the evolution of Palvi. This Pokemon actually has Zen mode, so once it's below half health, it changes from a bug flying type to a poison flying type. Its stats go up and it's faster and more offensive than its other form. Really cool to see Zen mode being implemented in other Pokemon. We have to bring out the big guns to take it out, and the final Pokemon is a Mostin, not a bug type at all. The Mostin starts to sweep with rollout, but thankfully my own Bidston takes a hit and lowers its health enough for Jinkai to finish it off. And just like that, the Beetle badge is ours. We head back to the Pokemon Center to heal our Pokemon and check in with the Lumberjacks. It seems they finished working, so we head inside of what I can only assume is the other side of the forest. This is a weird looking forest. Like I said, this demo is 2 gyms long. Evan and Mark thank us for playing and encourage us to go through and explore everything the demo has to offer. We get teleported back home, and the only thing I haven't taken a look at is behind cut trees. So we head to Avocet Forest and were met by a scientist whose colleague was attacked. She was taken into the heart of Honeyknot Woods, so naturally we have to save her. With all the Pokemon being weak to flying, I take advantage and get Cufflink to level 22. Then I use my 2 rare candies I collected throughout my playthrough to evolve it into Tuxalon. We then head to the center of Honeyknot Woods and battle and catch a Grizzlom to save the scientist, and that is the true end of the demo. Well, that was Pokemon Ethereal Gates. Despite this demo being 8 years old, it was so much better than I remembered. Since the demo was relatively short, I don't have too much feedback to give. I love the art style, and I loved most of the Pokemon. I felt the leveling system was perfect, not too fast, not too slow. My only gripe was how slow the game itself could be sometimes. Because of how big Massachusetts Sprite is, anytime it got its stats dropped, the game lagged a bunch. Overall though, I really enjoyed the direction this game was going, and I'm certain whenever it gets released, Pokemon Sea and Sky will be an unforgettable experience. Next on this series, we're going to be taking a look at Pokemon Phoenix Rising. And if you missed it, we did an episode on Pokemon Sage. The link is on screen or go to the description.